It's COP29, and that means talking about complicated and difficult climate issues. You might feel like you need a dictionary to understand what's happening, so let's break it all down. Firstly, COP. It stands for Conference of the Parties, and it refers to the annual summit where world leaders and other parties get together to talk about climate change solutions and how to fight global warming.
Paris must mark a decisive turning point.
The Paris Agreement. This is the benchmark for much of what is discussed each year at COP, and it refers to a 2015 treaty signed in Paris where countries agreed to try to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. NCQG. That stands for the New Collective Quantified Goal on Climate Finance. That's a long way of describing an annual target for the amount of money developed nations need to put in to fund climate efforts. Loss and damage is a term that you'll hear a lot, and most of the time it will be used to refer to a loss and damage fund. That money will be used to help poorer countries deal with the effects of climate disasters. The money comes from the more developed countries, and the conversation this year will be around how that money is spent. Net zero. This doesn't mean releasing zero carbon into the atmosphere. It means making sure that any carbon that is released is offset by schemes such as planting trees or finding ways to capture carbon before it's released. Another acronym you'll hear a lot is the UNFCCC. That stands for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It comes from a treaty that was signed back in 1992 by nearly 200 countries and commits them to fighting climate change. NDC stands for Nationally Determined Contribution. It's each country's plan for how they're going to reduce emissions. It's really important that countries submit their NDCs to the COP summit so that you can judge whether they've been successful and whether they've done what they said they were going to do.